Some thoughts about Thanksgiving in the 1950s in Wayne, New Jersey. From my viewpoint and from my family, Wayne was a lot different in the 1950s. It was still somewhat rural. There were still a lot of dairy farms and farms around. And a lot of the people who lived in Wayne back then were blue collar. A lot of them worked in the town or surrounding towns. It was a lot different. You had the suburban communities, Packanack Lake and Pines Lake, but the rest of the town was the way it was probably 20 years before. And this is the scenario, for my view, of the 1950s Thanksgiving. Back then, employers gave everybody turkeys for Thanksgiving. Not sure that goes on or not anymore. Being a high school teacher for so many years, school boards are not big on giving out turkeys, so I'm not sure how businesses do it. But back then, there were turkeys for just about everybody. And my father worked in one of the small businesses. He was in Pequannock at Van Ness Lumber. I had an uncle who worked at Patterson Brick. I don't know whether you know about that or not. It was in the area where Route 80 now runs by, next to the Division of Motor Vehicle Building. And I had another uncle who worked at Mack Molding. And so we were prepared for the season of feasts. That seems to be the way it was in a rather closely knit family back then. And I might add that a lot of these turkeys came from North Jersey butchers. They were on Hamburg Turnpike in the vicinity of the old Alderney Milk Barn. It'd start off with the first feast at our house. It would be Thanksgiving, and that would be followed by a big turkey dinner on Christmas night at my aunt's house. And my other aunt, who lived on Booton Road, now Mountain View Boulevard, in Mountain View, she had the New Year's evening turkey dinner, which was always kind of a downer because the next day school would open and all the vacations and the celebrations of the season from Thanksgiving forward would be gone for another year. So here we are in November, and the house is starting to take a different smell. My grandmother, who oversaw most of these dinners, would start making pies, and you'd start to get that smell of spices, of pumpkin, of apples. On the back porch, you'd find a cider jug, and everything was looking forward to the beginning of the holiday season, the Thanksgiving dinner. And about 2 or 3 days before the Thanksgiving dinner, we did something in our house, and I guess all my other relatives did this as well, that the Department of Health would have a conniption fit over. We would take this frozen turkey and put it out on our enclosed back porch and let it thaw over a period of 2 or 3 days so it would be ready for the roasting on Thanksgiving morning. Nobody ever got sick, but that's the way we did it. I've told numerous people that, and they, oh my gosh, you let the turkey out? Don't you know what that could have done? Well, we didn't. And we all survived it. So that is how we did our turkeys. And Thanksgiving morning, I would wake up and the house would be abuzz with activity. And the kitchen would be changed. The kitchen table would be moved over to one side. My grandmother would have all of the things out necessary to make the dinner. And it just had a different smell. The breakfast smelled like a pre-dinner, really. When she's got the vegetables out and she's got the turkey sitting there and they got the stuffing out and they're getting ready to do the whole thing at this time. And my mother told me at that point, after breakfast, don't eat anything because we're going to eat around 4 o'clock. So don't spoil your turkey dinner. And I'm going along okay with that. That's not a problem. I would get into my tradition of Thanksgiving Day, watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade in beautiful black and white. And then after that, there was time to take a look at the Sears Wish Book to see what kind of toy would be the thing that I would want for that year. So everything seemed to be going fairly well. Until, I'd say about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, this particular Thanksgiving. I'm a preteen in the late 50s. And my stomach is starting to tell me that it needs food. You know, you hear feeling it down there, I'm hungry. And I am. Now, what my mother could have done would have been to give me an apple or something to carry me over, maybe a couple of crackers or something, but she didn't say anything about it. And I made it till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And there I am in the house all alone. My mother's next door at my aunt's house, and they're getting some things ready for the dinner. My grandmother's upstairs doing something. My father's outside and doing what he always did on holidays, and that is to clean up the yard. He was always shoveling stuff and throwing it around, or taking weeds and leaves and stuff and burning them. He was always outside. So I'm in the kitchen all alone. It's quiet. You could hear the oven over there kind of hissing and popping. And there's nothing going on. And I'm looking at the clock on the wall, and I'm thinking, I don't know, I got to find something to eat. My stomach's there saying, you need food. And so I'm snooping around, and we've got this bread box. Everybody had bread boxes back in the 50s. There's still some people who have them. And I open it up, and oh my gosh, there is a box of Bond bread cake donuts. And there are the three varieties. You had your cinnamon, your plain, and your sugar-coated ones. And I thought, well, one won't be a problem, and I scarfed that down. And then I think, well, I don't want to break up the set. So I have a powdered sugared one. Slugged that one down. And the next thing there was the cinnamon. And I had to have that one too. And there I am, pumping these things down. Now, my father used to call donuts sinkers because they just kind of laid in your stomach. And indeed, they did. Because just a few hours later, the smell of the Thanksgiving dinner has invaded the whole house. The turkey is out of the oven. The relatives are coming by, and everything is placed on the table. And my grandmother went crazy on everything. We had sweet potatoes. We had potatoes. We had candied yams. We had a relish tray. There were cut green beans. There was asparagus. And, of course, there was turkey. And you can't leave out the cranberry sauce, the stuff that came in the can, so it kind of looked like the shape of the can when they put it on the dish. Remember those? And there I am. And I got a stomach full of donuts. And they put this big plate in front of me. I get a turkey leg because I guess somebody thinks the kid needs the turkey leg. And everybody starts eating, and I'm there taking little nibbles of stuff and playing with my mashed potatoes. I got the gravy in it, and I'm trying to make a little volcano and all that stuff. And my mother's looking at me, and what's the matter with you? And I'm there, preteen. What are you going to say? I can't say I just had 3 donuts. That wouldn't go over big at all. So I'm there going, I don't know. What's the matter? Is there something wrong with him? And she gets into this little diatribe at the table. I don't know why he doesn't eat. I'm going to take him to the doctor. And I'm over there saying, everything's okay. I don't know what's going on. It was just that on that Thanksgiving, on that preparation for the first big feast of the season, I kind of let it all go and gave in to temptation at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and slugged down those 3 big Bond bread cake donuts. My thoughts on how I destroyed my Thanksgiving dinner in the 1950s in Wayne, New Jersey.